Hey, so it's my day of surgery and mixed emotions to be honest, but keeping positive and trust in the hospital that I'm going to. So today's the day I get the wrist plates out of my wrist, so you can see the line on the inner side. It was the thumb bone that was broken terribly at the joint near the thumb. So broken wrist, both bones. They went in both sides, and there's 2 plates in and about 6 screws, so they're coming out today, so yay. I have full function back. Strength is coming back, but I've avoided building too much strength in lieu of today's surgery. I'm going to do strength building after this surgery, but I've got good strength back, and the main thing is that my function is good, so all the feelings come back. So one thing I just wanted to mention is they do go into the wrist area. There's a lot of nerves there. There can be quite a bit of disruption to the area with blood flow. It will swell immensely. It will be painful, but they'll give you painkillers. Just take what you need, listen to your own body. This is a time for you to learn about your own body's healing ability, and always go to some medical help if you need it, as in medication. I still have mine in the drawer from the last 2 procedures I had done, so there's plenty there left over, meaning I didn't rely on them too heavily, but do listen to your own body in that regard and don't let yourself be in too much pain. So I just wanted to show you, we've got the function of the hand. So you'll get a bunch of exercises after the surgery showing you to make fists and touch your fingers like this. Now this is not something I could do after the surgery. This is something I was aiming to do, and it was nearly impossible at the time, really. So don't lose hope. It's just about moving a little bit. So I'm holding the phone, but if I just quickly bring up my other hand, what I would do is I'd hold both hands together. So wait, better if I can put that down. So I'd hold both hands together and I would do the action that was required with the good hand, and this one would just basically do what it could. And at first it was maybe barely even that, you know. So look, I got to a few weeks in and it does start to do a bit more. You just need to keep practicing, and then you're wanting to really work on these sorts of movements where you're just trying to get those 2 fingers to touch. Okay, and when they do, it's a wonderful day. So really, that's all good. No one can really tell the difference. If someone were to look at me, they wouldn't even know I had surgery here. I do get a little bit of aching through the joint every now and then, just due to lack of self-care. I need to keep it warm during the winter and not too hot in the summer. So I do often wear this little cover over it just to keep it protected. Okay, so you'll find your own way of doing that. But I just wanted to mention, being a yoga practitioner as well, this position was very important to me, but I find in yoga I don't have a full range of movement. It looks like I can do a lot here, but basically there is, let's see if I can show you. So if you see, this side really bends quite a lot and this side's not quite. So it's not a huge difference, but in doing my yoga practice I do notice there is quite a lot of difference there. And what I want to go through is when you're actually in your recovery phase and you're doing those exercises and you're getting enough rest recovery time, is to set up your workstations or your rest stations. So that can be anything from your comfort foods to, you know, protein bars and things that you might eat that if you didn't feel hungry you could nibble on. Okay, have plenty of water there. Have, you know, a book or whatever you want to sort of read on your Kindle device, and know that those are the things you might need at times when it's mealtime or when comfort eating. You might even just eat because you're a little bit bored. So I'm having a good time at the moment, just remembering what it was like being one-handed and how good it is being two-handed. So don't forget, we are very dexterous, we use our hands a lot. So even just putting on a scarf around your neck, that's two-handed. So if you were to do it one-handed, say, you've got this one here, you might have to move around that side. And things like clothing, zips are nearly impossible to put on. So I'm going to wear this stuff to the hospital today, but I'm probably not going to zip myself up, say, unless I leave the latch at the bottom. You can get zips up after a while with one hand, but that took me quite a bit of practice. So yeah, perhaps you can just practice a little bit as if this hand wasn't working, and you can just see what clothes can you get on one-handed. You're putting this side in first in a sleeve, so you bring that side in. You don't want anything that's tight-fitting. This one actually has a button that releases at the end, so it's very loose. I can show you on this side. If I were to take that one off, it was very loose to get on. So you might just leave it loose, or you might be able to do that one-handed. Of course, most of us can. So as you can see, I've got very good function on that side. I'm very happy with the recovery, but this is going to take me back again. This is going to take me back to the phase where maybe I won't be able to even make a fist or touch my fingers together. I understand that, and it's going to take me some time to get that recovery back. So the other thing I wanted to mention is touch and feeling. So you'll be quite numb through this whole area, and that feeling will start to come back, maybe initially as pain and discomfort, but as the nerves start to really regrow and rewire themselves back through here, and even this sort of movement of massaging or stroking your hand just to get that feeling back into the fingertips. Okay, this hand is really important in the recovery. Use it to warm the other hand up, move it around. At one point, this is all I could do with my hand. I couldn't do any of these exercises. I was just basically using one hand to rest and do this sort of movement, just to get that movement going. And twisting in here was particularly difficult. So that involved things like pushing the seatbelt in when I was driving. So when I was driving after about 3 weeks, pushing that seatbelt in was just so painful. So there's a little action in here that needs to strengthen as well. So that will take a little bit of time. And just play with your sense of feeling. So make sure you put your hand on many different surfaces just to encourage those feeling senses to come back again. And the last point I just wanted to go on is, always listen to your body, and you'll take your own time with this. It's going to be a fairly long recovery, and if you have a look at my scar tissue there, some of it is a little more red than the others. So the scar goes from down here to where you can see up the top there. So the top part is a little bit bubbly still. Now, I did a lot of self-care for something up to 6 months post-surgery, but I wasn't doing enough in the last few months, so that probably would have resolved in that time with a bit more manual sort of working, breaking up the scar tissue. It'll feel extremely tight through here. You literally will need to break up the scar tissue, meaning there's micro tearing of the scar tissue to soften that up. I had needling done with acupuncture. If you're not good with needles, there's always laser. There's a lot of strong massage that can be done. It can be a little bit sore. It's a huge relief and release for you to go through those therapies, and I encourage you to source something of that kind out for yourself. So all the very best in your recovery, and wish me luck today. Blessings.